Welcome to the channel. The Acolyte episode number 6 just dropped on Disney Plus, and I've just finished watching it, uh, more or less twice. So, um, this is going to be my review slash opinion of the show, and uh, it's it's not not a better episode. I mean, I think most people think that episode 5 was the best so far of the show. And mainly that's because something actually happened, the lightsaber duel, or not really a duel when you have the Sith reveal. Um, this one is back to not really anything of interest, not much happening, other than it does somewhat progress the plot a little bit. So, did I like it? Uh, no, not really. It was okay. Uh, it's still, I mean, Squid Game Jedi keeps threatening to tell us what happened to all the witches on the planet, and they're dragging that out for through all of the episodes. He's yet to tell anybody. I'm going to tell you when we're back to the ship. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell. It's like somebody promising something and never delivering. And he doesn't even in this show, even though right at the end, that's the cliffhanger. He's going to tell May, and yes, he does figure out that it's May on the ship. Um, and neither one of the baby Sith guy, um, he knows immediately that it's, and he has taken her back for this express purpose that it's Osha. So he knows. Squid Game guy sort of starts off acting like it's Osha, but eventually he stuns her, which is the best thing that's happened in the show. And he indicates that he knows that it's Osha, it's May, the evil twin. But sorry for the spoilers, but that's it. Anyways, we start on the writing is, I don't know what to say. It's not great. It's just because nothing's really happening. There's a lot of the Sith sort of trying to put across his point. Ultimately, it looks like he's going to try to convert Osha to his apprentice. Although I still feel that he's somebody else's apprentice. He's not, he just doesn't make me think of a Sith Lord. He's just some goober that knows how to use some of the dark stuff. But he seems to be appealing to Osha because he keeps referring back to the Jedi this and the Jedi that. It's basically just blames the Jedi for everything. Not that the Jedi are not guilty of doing a lot of stuff, but that's it. And yeah, so the acting again, I don't know how this woman got the job as the twins because she can't emote or act or anything really. Again, it's yeah, it's pretty. She just stares off to the distance. I saw a really good meme that somebody came up with, and they just showed about 10 different pictures of this, or well, her face, and it's like anger, compassion, sorrow, whatever, and it's just exactly the same look for each one of these pictures, and that's about it. She just kind of stares into the distance constantly. I was thinking maybe that during some of the stuff she was just doesn't have the experience, which is probably what the issue is, but doesn't have the experience to work with a green screen or special effects or motion capture or anything like that. But this is just two people walking around as either a spaceship and or the Sith guy's hideaway. So there's nothing that much to have to deal with, and she still just does not bring anything to the table, even when she gets angry and ignites the Sith lightsaber. It's it's almost like, yeah, okay, whatever. But the episode starts with her waking up, and she's definitely on not sure where she is, and they have to sell a toy, so they bring in. There's some little cute critter there, and she finds some clothes and goes out, and she just finds that she's on a desolate. They don't even identify the planet; they just say unknown planet, which is like what? Okay, whatever. But it kind of looks like the planet that was Luke Skywalker was hiding on. Same sort of desolate, windswept shores. But she then sees the cis guy walking away, just kind of ignore her. So she starts following him. And then the next bit, we have Squid Game and May departing on his ship. They left the bodies of all the other Jedi on the planet. He doesn't do anything, but he seems to be very upset that something has happened to them, but does nothing to actually bury their bodies or anything. And he's sending a distress call to inform them his team's been wiped out, and they tell him to come back to Coruscant, and that's the signal keeps breaking in and out. So May's coming up behind him with a knife, but he just kind of says, "Hey, go! I'm going to go reset the transmitter. You go fly." And apparently, this must be a very common ship because she just flies it with no. Hey, how do I know how to fly this thing? It must be just like driving a car. Every spaceship is just like driving a car. There must be a gas pedal, a brake, and a steering wheel because nobody seems to have any need to learn how to fly a different ship. But Squid Game goes down into the interior of the ship to reset his transmitter. And for the first time in this episode, you actually see acting, even though it's from a guy who doesn't speak, had to learn English to do this show. But he actually shows you what acting looks like when he's obviously upset about what happened to his team, and then you see him very upset and then trying to regain his composure. So it's acting. I know that doesn't you don't see that much in this show, but there's a guy actually trying to give a performance. But then the badger Basil, whatever the hell his name was, the little creature, reappears in the show. He managed to sneak aboard the ship, and he has the Palm Pilot from OSHA, and he's trying to get it plugged into the system because apparently half the Palm Pilot can control the ship. Okay, whatever. Jump back to the island, and May is following the Sith, the baby Sith guy, the not Ezra Miller, who does a skinny dip, and she stands there staring at him. Again, kind of just looking into the distance. And she grabs his lightsaber because he's left it on the shore, and she's pointing it at him like it's a gun or something. Doesn't ignite it, just points it at him. Okay. Not going to do much pointing it at him, but anyways, they're talking again. He's all the time he's working his narrative on her about you know the Jedi trying to stop people from using the Force, which I think there is some history that they did try to do that, or they try to control it. The same as the Sith, and the Sith actually kills off anybody that doesn't want to join them. So I would still say they're slightly more evil. But they're going back and forth about this, and again, the not Ezra Miller doesn't seem to be too upset or too excited that OSHA has picked up his lightsaber. But then we jump back to the ship, and we have Squid Game, Jedi, and May, and suddenly the ship loses all power, which I guess was the Palm Pilot and the Beaver managed to do that. So Squid Game says, "Why don't you go have a look?" And she looks sort of actually confused for a second, and until she realizes that her sister is a mechanic. How she has that knowledge, since they haven't talked since she was a small child, I don't think she ever, in any of the scenes that we saw, because they've only really seen each other very, very short time periods, how she would know that she's supposed to be a mechanic and supposed to know what's going on there. So she walks out of the room and her face changes from compliance to just whatever. But again, it's kind of, this is how the writing is so poor. It's like, oh, okay. The two sisters know which skill trade they take up. Anyways, so she goes to have a look, and we jump over to Coruscant, and we have the green meanie Jedi, and she's trying to figure out what's happened and decides that they're going to mount a rescue party. And apparently, it must be cold on Coruscant because everybody's always wearing these cloaks and robes. But, anyways, they're going to go to the Jedi, or the Wookiees' place. After that, we jump back to the island, and we have, just the not Ezra Miller talking away about the Force and that kind of stuff and trying to cast out. But it's just general, talking of, okay, whatever. But Osha's still got the lightsaber, although she doesn't do anything with it. She's just carrying it for him. And yeah, again, he's just talking to her and kind of boring. A lot of it is very boring. But that's it. Jump back to the ship, and the beaver comes out of a hole and basically steps on May's foot. That seems to be the only thing he accomplished. And then May gets squirted in the face because of the Palm Pilot. So she says she's going to reset the Palm Pilot. And again, not being a mechanic or anything, I guess they're all universally, this must be the Jedi equivalent of, or Star Wars equivalent of Control Alt Delete, because she resets the Palm Pilot piece from being good to being just compliant, whatever. And she figures out what unit to plug it into and tells it to go figure out what's wrong with the ship. So it apparently does. And we again jump back to the island, and there's the not Ezra Miller and Osha yapping away about stuff, and he eventually goads her to show some emotion. He keeps talking about the other way of other. She keeps talking about training, and he keeps talking about using your emotions to access the Force, which is the dark side, which she acknowledges. But she does at least get him to ignite the lightsaber and hold it against him, but she doesn't do anything with him. He even encourages her to stab him, which she doesn't. So nothing really happens there, and we jump back to the Coruscant and the Green Meanie Jedi, and she's getting her bunch of stooges ready to go follow or go help Squid Game. And you basically just see them get on a ship, and we're back to the ship with the Squid Game Jedi, and basically after doing Control Alt Delete, May has the ship coming back online, and just when the Squid Game guy is going to tell May what happened to her mothers, the power comes on. So he doesn't tell her, of course not. Can't stop anything. And she goes up into the control panel, and for some reason starts, hello, is anybody out there? Don't know why, but Squid Game then shoots her with that stun gun and knocks her out. And then, for some bizarre reason, he shuts off the tracking um, on his ship and takes off. So that's when he hears that there's going to be a rescue party arriving. And the beaver's there in the background and runs off and hides. So I guess this is an indication that, again, something's wrong with Squid Game Jedi, or there's more to him than what you're seeing. So his ship zaps out, and along comes Green Meanie's ship. and they land. And no one else knew how to find the Wookiees camp, but she goes, let's go find it. And she leads them off. So apparently it's very easy to find it. Uh, we jump back to the not Ezra Miller's place, and he's repairing his helmet, and again he's using all his, again trying to create doubt in OSHA, which probably isn't that hard. But he actually mentions whatever this metal is that the helmet's made of that is supposed to block lightsabers, which I've never heard of anything before, but apparently it's in one of the animated series that I've not watched and no one's watched, I don't think. But it's, yeah, he encourages her to try the helmet on, which she says she's not going to. And we then jump back to the Wookiee's place, and they find Green Meanie there, and she's looking at the bodies, and basically, it's like the dumbest murder investigation I've ever seen. It's like, what do you sense here? Well, it's pretty effing obvious that a bunch of people were stabbed with lightsabers. Oh, yeah, good guess. But I guess what some people have been waiting for, we actually see one of those moth creatures come to life, and Green Meanie pulls out her lightsaber whip and kills it with it. So I guess people were waiting to see that. It's kind of like, yeah, okay. But it's purple, and I thought Mace Windu was the only one that had a purple lightsaber. But Disney doesn't give a crap about what's happened in the past or maintaining any kind of timeline or whatever. They just jump all over the place. So of course everybody's got purple, same as everybody's got yellow lightsabers, which is supposed to be Sentinel only. But on this show, anybody can have it. Every little Padawan or not very good master, because half them died, so everybody can have yellow. And the final scene we get is we got May strapped to a chair, and Squid Game Jedi says he's going to tell her what happened to her mother, and that's the end of the episode. So this is a total, almost useless episode. There's a little tiny bit of progression of the story, but not much. But you could skip this episode and just wait until the next one, because maybe the second to last episode, Squid Game will actually tell May what happened to their mothers. So overall, not particularly well written, boring as hell, not well acted. The only benefit of this episode is that it does give a little bit of progression to the story. You see that there's something more to Squid Game Jedi. You see that potentially OSHA could be maybe even more susceptible to the dark side than her sister, and you can see what actors don't know how to act. But yeah, it's a total waste of time, really. Um, I kind of thought some of the other series, they'd have one good episode followed by a bad episode. Well, that's this. Episode 5 was pretty good, and episode 6 is more or less a waste of time. Okay, that's my thoughts, and I will post it online, and you can comment and beat me up in the comments if you want, but it's almost an episode you could skip. There, thanks.